So what's good, man? We live and direct, Kush&Konvo. Y'all already know what it is, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as usual. Y'all already know the product, Q combs, smoke quality. I want to get into this real quick and early, but first of all, I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
My name is Jawi. From North New Jersey. Currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I just want to
Okay.
say appreciate you having me on the show, my boy.
Yeah, I appreciate you, tapping in with me. Yo, so how you like it out there in Atlanta though?
I love it, man. It's good quality of living out here.
Yeah. So are you staying actually in Atlanta or you stay on the outskirts?
Outskirts.
Yeah, because a lot of people be like, yo, I live in Atlanta, but they live on the outskirts of Atlanta, where it's definitely better living. I've been out there. I love Atlanta. I love the energy that Atlanta got. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand you moving to Atlanta. Like what's one of the reasons that you actually left Jersey to go to Atlanta?
A few reasons. I just beat trial in 2015. Tried to give me a life sentence there. And I was actually on trial again in 2009. I was
Hmm.
facing a life sentence. Then I beat that case as well. So you get just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I didn't want to raise my kids where made all my mess at.
Nah, I feel you on that 100%. Speaking of your kids, the other day when you was on live, I was tapped into your live, and you was having a conversation about parenting. Particularly, fathers not even being, you know, in the lives of their kids in general, not just their son, but all their kids. Like, elaborate on that like a little bit more.
I mean, I think it's one of those understood things, the importance of a father, but I don't. I think everybody explains it differently. Everybody don't articulate the actual impact of not having fathers, what it does to kids, and I've been able to do it. I detailed that in my first book that I wrote, and I don't know. I think once we get older, I think a lot of times our society forces us to, how they say it's not about you anymore, it's about the kids.
Hmm.
Um, I've always rejected that notion. I think it's bullshit. I don't agree with that because we are still living. We still have
Yeah,
lives to live. It's
yeah,
not just about my damn kids. It's about us.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't like how they separate the two. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be the best father to my kids if I'm not good to self. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
um, you know, I um I talk a lot about just the impact of not having a father and just how it impacts you long term. I mean, we all, I'm not gonna say all, but for the most of us that come from the ghetto, we kind of got
yeah.
similar stories with just poverty and alcohol and drugs and violence and crime. We know what that's like, but it impacts everybody differently. You know what I'm saying? You can have two people go and do a 5-year joint, and it can impact them completely different. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
everybody's story is uniquely different, and we can't group everything in one. You know what I mean? And that's why I always say that it's power in the written and spoken word, man. And when we share these stories and we speak on how things have impacted us, it resonates with people differently. And I think that's something we don't do enough of. You know what I mean? Just really passing down testimony, game, not just your war stories, but the bad times and the sad times. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
things of that nature. We don't tap into that too much.
Why you think that? Why you think we don't tap into that too much?
It could be for a number of reasons, but just a few that I know. I know society is a big part of it. Society teaches us, especially black boys coming up in the ghetto, we're not supposed to do that. And I could just speak from my personal experience. I remember, when I moved out to the West back in 1990, I remember like how I showed emotions. That shit was like taught to you, like certain things you could not do, certain ways you couldn't act. And the crazy thing about it was these were like human, real human feelings that we should feel, that we should have. That shit was controlled, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you just kind of equated certain emotions and showing certain vulnerability. It immediately was a straight line to being a sucker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Unacceptable. And it's just like over the course of time, you get hardened to that type of shit. You know what I mean? So even when you do feel certain things and should have a natural, normal, reaction, we've learned to cope that shit, man. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Nah, that's a fact. Well, like, what was it like for you, growing up though, coming up as a kid? Like, what was that really like?
It was rough, bro. I mean, I didn't have shit growing up. Poor. Like I said, it depends on what phase of my life we're talking. Because, like I said, when I was 9, I moved out to Park South, Phoenix. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And that shit is really where I got introduced to gang life. So that 2 years I was there was a lot different than growing up in North and the shit I was into there. You know what I mean? It was like kind of a
Mm,
night and day type of thing. So it affected me a lot because culture shock, being there, being the new kid from out of state, and just having to hit the
yeah,
ground and understanding the do's and the don'ts. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
quick fast. Like it wasn't no at 9, 10 years old. You are exposed to a lot of grown up shit.
So,
Right?
what age would you say that you was when you started gangbanging?
11 years old when they officially put me on. I was there for 2 years though. Prior to that, you know what I mean, just around, just you know what I mean, learning the law of the land.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't imagine, being 11 years old and getting into gangbanging. What was that like on your brain, like as 11-year-old kid? You know what I mean, gangbanging. Because how old is your son?
11.
So your son, which is he's a great kid. So imagine you were his age when you started gangbanging.
I mean, like the first 2 years, bro, shit was scary as hell, man. Because I'm a city boy. I'm from North, man. Like we city boys. We roamed through the city. We did all our fighting and shit like that as kids, stealing bikes, doing all that goofy shit. But
Hmm.
there was no structure back then. You know what I'm saying? The late '80s, early '90s, as far as there was no structure. You just knew your block. You knew who you was from, and you knew who you hung with. But just going out there, that shit was different, and I felt out of place, though, bro. I felt out of place because everything was like a penalty. Even as a 9 and 10 year old, I mean, you got to think about it. I moved into a house with 5 of my cousins, 2 females and 3 boys, and they were all in the streets as well. My 2 older cousins, and
Okay.
it's just I always felt like I was walking on eggshells, man. You couldn't talk, you couldn't say certain shit, man. Neighbor,
Yeah.
they get up on you, and
Yeah.
all their older brothers were the middle school kids, the high school boys, and it's just it was a culture shock, bro. And oftentimes I found myself, what I'm saying, getting ganged up on just by the kids from my neighborhood because I was definitely breaking a lot of rules, man.
Yeah, I used to I lived out west. I was like 13 when I moved to Cali. I lived in Cali for like 4 years.
What part?
Man, when I lived in LA. I mean, I actually went to Fairfax High. I mean, now I didn't get introduced to gang banging as far as like knowing what it was when I was in Jersey. I moved from Jersey to LA. When I got to LA, yo, that was my first introduction of what gang banging was. And when I
Yeah,
tell you that shit was the scariest shit I ever seen at 13, because remember, I'm coming from a place where you could wear red, you could wear blue. You know
yeah,
what I mean? When I used to, I'm 13 years old, I got niggas pulling up on me like, "Hey, yo, where you from?"
yeah.
Aggressive as hell. So I'm like, "Oh,
Older motherfuckers too.
yeah, older motherfuckers, bro." Like,
Yeah.
yo, and
They don't care how young you are.
it's crazy because to my dad, I used to tell my dad like what was going on, and my dad was like, "I don't understand how that's happening. You a young boy. These is grown men addressing a young boy about gang banging." And remind you, I didn't even understand all the rules. Like I had this jacket that said New York across the front. It had blue right here and red sleeves. You know what? I was in Mansfield. I don't even heard of Mansfield,
Of course.
Gangster Crip. Yo, when I tell you,
They get
dude rolled down on me like
yeah,
18 on a bike. Where you from? And I had my little brothers and sisters with me. I didn't even know how to react to that because I wasn't accustomed to that.
yeah,
But I got accustomed quick. I started asking questions and learning the rules, so I know what not to wear. Like
yeah.
them red Sauconys, threw them shits in the garbage. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? That shit is over with. So I had to learn to go by the rules. You know what I'm saying, of the whole gangbanging culture. And I didn't even gangbang, but
right.
also differently too. I noticed the difference was you didn't like like I didn't gang bang, but and they didn't mess with you once you said I don't bang. I ain't have no problems. All I had to say was I ain't bang. So I ain't get shot. I ain't get beat up. No matter what I had on, I could have had on all red. But once they ask me if I bang and I say no, they let me slide. You know what I mean? And that was the difference. What I saw when I came back to Jersey, to me the rules was different. It was just different rules in Jersey. Like you ain't. It wasn't just color banging. It was just Jersey was already pushing niggas' wigs back. They was
Right,
already doing that before red and blue. That shit
right.
just gave an extra reason for niggas to get their ass knocked off.
Well, yeah, big
Know what I
time.
mean? So I know what I definitely, understand the gang culture. I never chose the route because it didn't make sense for me. Like, I never understood gang banging. So like, I mean, with you gang banging, like what is gang banging really about?
I mean, you got what I mean. I know for myself, and as being older today, I always say, man, it introduced me to like all of the wrong shit in life. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah,
through all my years and all the shit, I done been to the county jail to hella times for the hood. I done been to the pen for the hood. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? But and through that, it's certain qualities and shit that even how I live today, I still hold near and dear to me. You feel me? But
yeah,
for the most part, bro, that shit was just about that shit was neighborhood. That shit was territory to me. That's what it was introduced to me about. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Inheriting beef and shit. You know what I mean? Shit that was going on 20 years prior to me
yeah,
even being there. I just knew I didn't like those motherfuckers over there. And the crazy thing about it was to this day, maybe not verbatim and word for word, but I still can just remember the conversations as being a 10-year-old or 11-year-old and hearing my older cousins and older homies talking about shit that happened 10 years prior.
yeah.
Don't know nothing about it, but
You don't know nothing about it.
the hate is just passed down, bro. You know what I mean? And you hear these
Yeah,
stories, and there's certain people you love from the neighborhood, and they're hurt, they're in wheelchairs, they're still in mourning, and it's just that shit is been passed down, bro. You inherit that fucking hate, and
yeah,
before you know it, you own. You know what I mean? So, I mean that's what it was for me. As I got older and years, I've come back to Jersey. I'm saying I brought the red rag with me, and I mean, I kind of started duplicating that. You know what I mean? That lifestyle. And as the years went on and going to the county jail and just getting older, I mean, you really start to really get into the understanding of the true meaning of what brotherhood mean. You know what I mean? A lot of
yeah,
times we be so messed up in the head. I did a lot of dumb shit throughout all my teens, but at some point we try. It's almost like how you fuck up so much, and then it's like you try to. It's not necessarily undo it, but you try to work backwards now and try to
yeah.
fix
Try
clean
to
up
fix
a
it.
lot of what I mean, what you recognize is wrong now, and that's what I did a lot in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, but what is that process really like though? Because I know, like, knowing that you made all these errors and knowing that there's things you did to people, you got to still walk around. And everybody forgives different. Some niggas don't forgive. Like, how you dealt with that?
I always had one foot in, one foot out, and when I say one foot in, one foot out, like I said, in my 20s, what I mean, I'm talking about like maybe my mid 20s, is where I really started started making change. That shit wasn't easy, man. That's why I kept going back to the pen, bro. I told you in 2009, um,
Yeah,
what I mean, I got cased up for some shootings and shit, and then again in 2014. Well, the case was done in 2015, but staying in Newark, and what I mean, it keeps us, that should keep a certain chip on your shoulder, man. And
yeah,
no matter how much I tried to focus on my neighborhood and building up, like you said, so much dirt had been done on the street, and the hate was there. I mean, just motherfucker don't care about you changing your life when they're still in mourning over some shit you involved in.
that's a
So
fact.
I've always had that mind frame. No matter how much success I done achieved, no matter how much my mind is always in the gutter, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
it's like I realized staying there that like that shit was just gonna be passed down to my kids too, bro. You know what I mean? So and with that change comes separation. Everybody ain't gonna go with you. Everybody is not gonna,
true.
respect that change. And some things done happen in the hood over that shit, and that's a big part of why my ass kept getting cased up, because I don't let niggas ain't gonna play with me. At least that's how
Yeah,
I feel, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not even about trying to be extra. It's just the man that I am.
yeah.
I'm
It's just
not
that, hey yo, that everybody has that man in them, bro.
not gonna
Everybody has that.
yeah. So
You got. I would never tell a nigga to get rid of that. You know what I mean? Because
mhm,
of course you're gonna walk on eggshells, but you really like, yo, don't play with me
for
because
sure.
you know how far this shit could go. You know what I'm
Both
saying?
both times I got jammed up, bro. It was simply what you just put, man, for what I mean, playing around. You know what I'm saying? Playing around, and I was all in. So I will say this though, through that, what I mean, just betrayal and all that type of shit come with the game. I will honestly say, man, one of the biggest things I credit or I give credit to helping my change was the betrayal of a couple of people that I raised, that I was there from the trenches with, that I done did all kind of shit for, jail time with them, shootouts, all that shit. And it's like a couple of them crossed me, and at the time I didn't understand it, but it taught me that sometimes your greatest blessings can come when what I mean, when you get hurt the most. You know what I'm saying? And that
Mm,
shit opened my eyes, because that happening is what really set me on path. Well, I ended up getting cased up, but it forced me to stop focusing my time on them. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And if those betrayals don't happen, bro, I'm still marching in that shit. And who knows, that next trial I might have caught, I might have got that L, or I might have got that, you know what I mean, got my head knocked off. But
yeah,
I know I wouldn't have been ready to move on. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And and
I,
and so to this day, you know what I'm saying, I say, man, like, one of the two niggas I'm talking about, he dead and shit. And even when I talk to the deceased, I say I thank that dead motherfucker for crossing me. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? I thank you for being that nigga. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it don't really sting and hurt as much as it
Damn,
used to. You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't even imagine what it's like to have somebody like really, really close to me cross me.
Yeah. This
I
one.
can't even imagine.
Yeah. That. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. That shit would change your whole perception of life. Because if you can't trust that one person, it's like who else could you trust? And that fucks with your trust issues in the future. You know what I mean? At the same time. So I'm pretty sure you have issues when you meet people like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
I don't be
Just
off
based off of
nobody
that.
like that, dog.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with the people I'm comfortable with.
Hey yo, you know what though? That's not even a bad thing.
Hell
It, it,
no.
it it's a lot of shit that you say that's not a bad thing. Like I was reading this one post that you had posted, and you was talking about how like you raised your son to, you know, what do people say? To be humble. You was talking about being humble and how you like, man, fuck that. Who made that rule? Be humble. Like what does that doesn't a person that's not humble doesn't make him a bad person at all. So it's
Exactly.
like, what's the point of saying that I'm gonna be humble? And we say that a lot. And I mean, just to get kudos, like, yo, I'm humble. But fuck all that. What's wrong with not being humble? I ain't humble. Yeah, I'm a brag. Yeah, I'm gonna talk my shit, but I'm working at the same time. So I think I thought that was a dope thing that you teach your son. Like I think that's dope.
For me, is not even just so much of the talking my shit. I feel like that, and this is not a fact. This is just from my knowledge of just growing up. I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to history and just black culture. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like that's a word that's just put on us. I feel like that word
Yeah,
was supposed to be put on us to contain us, keep us in fucking check. You know what I'm saying? If I
yeah,
want to say fuck you today, I'm gonna say it. And tomorrow, if I want to let it slide, I'm not going to be in a box. And it really comes down to, especially with sports, that's what really made me look up the definition. Because I remember when my son was 7, he was popping off, and he was, he was doing. I used to be humble and be humble. Like, fuck you mean? Nigga just took a kickback 100 yards. The fuck you want him to just walk to the sideline, turning up
yeah.
100 years?
Turn
What you
up.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean be humble? Like, I'm starting to hear this shit so much. And I go look up the word, and when I look at the definition, I'm like, bruh, I tell my son, man, you will never look at yourself as less than no motherfucking body, not even to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you are a young god, a prince.
Yeah.
No matter what the fuck room you walk in, you ain't bowing down to nobody. You just know how to show respect, but respect is
Exactly.
something totally different. But this just don't show too. And you know, I came up with something, bro. I want to tell you about it. I says, how can, and I'm speaking on sports now. I said, how can we be okay with people that's in the stands, the crowd that come to watch this sport that's classified as entertainment?
Mm-hmm.
How can they have more excitement for something I did than the fuck I can for what I
Did
did?
you? Hey, yo, that's a dope ass way to look at
Like,
it.
I don't get the logic in this shit. It's like, I did
Yeah.
it. I work hard. I practice. I train. I go to school. I make good grades. I get to get on a field. Again, this is not a fucking Wall Street Fortune 500 corporate meeting.
Yeah.
You know, your energy might have to be a little different in there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't coming
Yeah.
in with no crunk ass music. This is entertainment, bro. Nobody sits down to watch TV, whether it's college, pro, arena, sit here to watch some boring shit. Nigga, it's entertainment we after. So,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? When my kid they out there having fun and it's like, be humble and act like you've been there before. And I'm like, what? I said, goofy nigga, next time you go to a party, stand your ass up on the wall and be humble. When you go to a wedding, when you go to the wedding, go stand on the wall and be humble. When you go to your mother's 50th birthday party, go be humble. Don't turn up. Don't show
No
excitement.
time.
Don't be calm. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here, bro. We own, bro. Now I think there's certain thing called discretion. I teach my
Yeah.
son about that all the time about discretion. I mean, how not to go too far. Don't draw away from. Keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
Don't go scoring a touchdown. You running off the field, running up into the top row of the fucking stands, my nigga. Like, come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But you're gonna have
Yeah.
your fun and enjoy what you do, and we'll never be confined by what society tells us we should be doing. You're not gonna roll like that, bro.
Yeah, nah, that's for sure. That's why I said when I read it, I look at the comments, so I see, some people agree, some people disagree, but I think it's really people not really thinking into it. When you think deep into it, like you just said, it's like, yo, why am I not as happy as them holding the sign? Like I did this shit. Like, so what's wrong? They could be happy, but I gotta be humble. Yeah,
I can't
nah.
show no emotion. Let me
Yeah.
tell you something, bro. I remember this like it was yesterday. One of the biggest debates I ever had with somebody was over that because I remember I said, bro, I, and I can say this, I'm gonna be very transparent. I remember I stopped liking Barry Sanders for nothing other than the fact that I started not liking nigga because I hated how people reference him as if he was the end all be all to how to be like a football player because he didn't celebrate. He
Because he
never
did.
did any. He always give the ball to the ref. I said, that's that nigga, bro. I'm on that Dion shit, nigga. Like, what you mean?
Yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah, yeah.
Hall of Famers. Like, he ain't the it. That's just how he got down.
That's just how he is. That's his way.
Don't compare me or tell me that my son need to be like him, bro. Because my last name is Morris, homie. It ain't Sanders,
Hey,
dog.
hey, yo, but not for nothing though. I think something was a little off with Dion. I mean, not Dion, with Barry Sanders anyway. Because today we able to identify with Kawhi Leonard, but that was Barry Sanders back in the day, bro.
Corny than a motherfucker, bro.
Hey,
Just being real.
look, no,
Corny as
listen.
hell, bro.
I gotta agree with you. And look, that's my team. I like the Lions. Just coincidental. And Barry
He was,
Sanders is my
he was
favorite.
boring, but
But
he
I'm
was
not
great.
biased.
Yeah, but he was corny, bro. Like he couldn't sell a ticket to a fight, bro. Like
Nah, he could.
he had no personality, bro. And that's
I, I think that was a mental issue. I think it just wasn't
I ain't
identified.
never
Like
looked at it like I never look at it like that. But
you
now
gotta think about
when I think about Barry, you can see something in his eyes, bro.
something
His
ain't right,
energy
bro.
didn't match the moment. Like, bro, you can't tell me 90,000 motherfuckers in here going crazy because you done put 4 niggas, 5 niggas on the ground and then you popped off an 80 yarder and you don't feel nothing.
Hey, yo.
What, bro?
Hey,
You
bro,
gotta
you right, bro.
shit is
Hey,
crazy to me.
hey,
I be
bro,
getting chills. I get chills when I see my son out there do something. I can only imagine what he feeling. And you think I'm gonna contain that shit, bro?
Yeah, nah, that shit is incredible right there. I can't even believe like that. It's funny because we thinking about it. I just go back to all his highlights. That nigga, when he win a Thanksgiving game, that nigga got his helmet off with a straight face after he just won.
That's it. That's it, bro.
Hey, yo, listen, I'm going with that nigga needed to see a therapist. He got a mental illness, man. We just ain't know
Yeah,
what that shit was. They wasn't
we ain't know what it
identifying that
was.
shit then. But
Right.
because if you think about it, it was no other players like him. That's what make me know that something wasn't right with him. Know what I mean? Barry Sanders had
He
some
was
shit going
definitely
on and shit.
different. He was talented as hell, but I feel like he
Yeah,
didn't get out the game as much as he could have.
yeah. Nah, I agree with you. I agree with you
I'm for
100%
real.
on that.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yo, so I want to ask you this question about, in reference to gang banging. Because you see like a lot of guys that's rapping now, like, a lot of them is in gangs and it's like things is happening to them during like all because of gang banging. And what's happening is when they is experiencing their man's getting killed next to them and all that, they end up calling it quits. Just off of particular situations. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, you know what? I'm not with this gang shit no more. Like, what's your thoughts on, what I mean, signing up for something and then stepping down because you couldn't handle what you knew what came with the game?
well, I'm not sure who all these people you're talking about to reference them.
Well,
But
I'll use one person for instance is Quando Rondo because recently he just had his right hand man killed right in front of him. So it was all gang before that happened. But when that happened, he was like, man, fuck this gang shit. I'm done.
well, not even so much to speak on him. I could just speak for me. I don't know what that feel like because if you talking about rappers, you went through all that shit as you was coming up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That was just part of the job that came with the territory. I think the problem with what you talking about is that back to what I said earlier. These entertainers, they're doing it backwards. I
mhm.
mean, they're older, they're grown, they're accomplished, and then they get into a gang, and it's like
Mm,
now at some point you're going to start suffering from some of the things that we have been dealing with from yay high.
from
So
Yay
it's
High.
now it's
I see
like,
what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying? My first homeboy I lost was at 11. My little homeboy, Lil Trey Blood, like that nigga died in my arms at 11, bro. In my motherfucking
Damn.
arms. You know what I'm saying? The niggas got to come through and they got to getting off, and he got hit and he died in my arms. So I think it was a certain coating over myself. So as
Yeah,
this continued to happen, it come with it. As far as these entertainers, a lot of them shouldn't be in it. And to be real with you, I blame the motherfuckers that bring them in, bro. I'm gonna hold you, be real with you. I don't because I'm gonna be real with you, bro. As bad as gangs are, as much destruction as it causes, it's intoxicating, bro.
yeah.
It's influential and I don't care how successful you are or how much money you got. Everybody want to be a part of something, dog. See, when
That's
people
very
talk,
much true.
I don't care what no niggas say. You could be worth whatever. That got nothing to do with the fact that now you got those who just want to be a part of something. And you got your little tag along, goofy ass, following ass niggas who just want to be connected to something for protection or to appear in a certain way. It ain't for them. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, life has to just like jail, nigga. You playing around in the street, and then you really get jammed up, and then now you want to go against all the rules. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what, and
So
that's what's happening. That's crazy.
no, but my point that I'm making is that for some of these individuals you talking about, that has to be their exit right there. That real shit. That's their
The
exit.
real
You know
shit
what
is
I'm
their
saying? So
exit.
I ain't gonna hold you though, man. I kind of looked at things a little different with that Quando shit. That shit, quite a few people sent it to me. I don't talk about like a lot of public shit, celebrity. I don't talk about that shit, bro. You know what I mean? That's not my twist. I
Yeah,
normally have a one-on-one conversation about it with people. That especially if I know you. Um, Many years ago, I would have definitely thought that was some goofy shit. I'm not going to necessarily say I respect what he did, but according to what information I saw, I understand why he did it. I didn't like the way he did it. You know what I'm saying? The way he did it,
okay.
that was the shit. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? be a man about what you do, in or out. Be a man about it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Obviously, yeah, facts.
So the fact that the man that wasn't for the man, bro, like, you know what I mean? I'm in a space now, bro, man. Don't hold no nigga down to some shit he don't want to be down with. Period.
True.
Like, at the
That's a
end of
fact.
the day, don't hold the man down, because if it's not there and it took that to expose that, why the fuck would you want to keep that man in that space, in that
Yeah.
fabric, and you knew then it wasn't in him?
It wasn't in him.
It
It
wasn't
ain't
in
in
him.
him.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I saw a lot of people giving him flack, and I think the issue was really, you know what I'm saying, just how he did it. But that's not my place to judge that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's not my
Yeah.
place to judge it. It probably the best decision he made in his life, if you ask me.
No, I agree. I mean, how I kind of look at it is more so. I don't even gang bang, but like I said, anytime I'm thinking about something, I always put myself in that person's shoes.
Hmm.
So because I know everything that comes with gang banging, I look at it like he probably was thinking like, I can't trust nobody. Like who the fuck I'ma trust? The
For
nigga that
sure.
they took.
You know those thoughts was going through his head at that point. You
I
know
and
that's
when you but it's like when you get that thought right there, it's like
it's over
I'm
with.
out of
It's
there.
over with.
It's
It's
over.
over with.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over
So
with.
I feel like that's why I say I don't look at him no type of way besides just the point of he really he better be glad he made that decision. You know what I'm saying?
And
Because I
that's
feel like
that's not to say that. And bro, listen to me. That's not to say that there's no rocky roads ahead of him for that decision he made. There will be.
that's true. Yeah,
At
nah,
the
it will
end,
be.
but at the end of the day, bro, if you making now, if he just fronting and he gonna go be hanging out with some other motherfuckers doing the same old goofy shit, then you didn't learn your lesson.
Yeah, you
But
didn't
if
learn your
that shit
lesson.
was genuine and he really,
Nah, bro, it
and
scared him. I think that scared him.
that's the time to fight for your life, then, bro.
Yeah.
That's the
I
time
think
to
that
fight for
definitely
your
scared
life.
him. And I don't know. I mean, some dudes I could say like is built for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that,
Right.
and I think that's what always kept me out of gang banging is because all my friends gang bang. So it was like I look at what they going through. I'm like, yeah, I ain't built for that shit. I was honest off the rip. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not willing to put my life at large. You know what I'm saying about any of that. Like I'm good. Like you know what I mean?
See, we were definitely different in that area, bro. Because, like I said, I ain't gonna hold you, man. When I moved to Phoenix when I was 9 years old, I can tell you, I know what house I lived. I could tell you a lot. All of this new information that was being presented to me and just seeing how things were done. I remember my first, like, it was like my second day of school, fucking Mexicans jumped me and shit, took my shoes and everything, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I ain't know what they did that shit for. You know what I mean? I didn't
yeah.
want no parts of that shit, bro. But I was living there, and it was more uncomfortable to not be involved than it was being involved, bro. And that's what made
Mm,
me want to start hanging out more, because, and I could be off, a couple of months here, but maybe the first 3, 4 months, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I wasn't hanging like on a block I lived on. First, we was living in the Vista projects, and then we was living on 17, South 17th Street off East Chipman Road.
yeah,
All the little youngsters just hanging out, right all over the block, riding a big everywhere. And I would never go be with these kids. You know what I'm saying? School come, I would come out. They would all meet. They would all walk together. I would go. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even. And they always made me feel that shit. Like you knew you was an outsider. I felt like an outsider. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then I never played with them and shit. You know what I mean? I just felt outside. I remember one day one of the guys there, he embraced me and he kind of ushered me in a little bit, and you could tell he was one of the more popular youngsters. And by him doing that, it kind of made things a little easy, and shit kind of changed for me. But the shit that they was into, the shit they was being taught, and like that, I
Yeah,
wasn't, I wasn't down for that shit. But I didn't want to be the oddball. I didn't want to be the kid. You know what I mean? And that is what kind of forced me into the
to
shit,
be
man.
into it.
And then once, you know what I mean. And then from there, it was a wrap for me, bro.
Damn, that's crazy. But yo, I'm one of them niggas that, of course, I'll let you touch on your past, but I'm about your future. You feel me, big dog?
For sure.
Know what I mean? So like I see who you are today. I see what you're doing today. Amazing father. Like I'm seeing you, dropping jewels, giving niggas game, like on a whole positive level. So like let's talk about that. You know what I mean? Let's talk about who you are today.
I like to use the word, even if you check my IG, the bio, I like because I stay on it. I like to use the word survivor. And what I mean, and that's for me. That's not for no one else. That's for me because I know what I've been through. I know what I've been through in those prisons. I know what I've been through in them streets, and I know how deep I was with this shit. In my
Yeah,
generation, all my niggas from the masses to do, like I come from the generation where like that first generation. I'm one of those guys from Jersey, and
yeah,
niggas ain't fare well. You know what I mean? Like they're all booked or dead, homie. And then you got a few of them are fucking bums. And it's
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? I survived a lot of shit. And like I said in the bio, I said, man, I'm a general who left the game on his own terms, bro. And I feel proud about that shit because growing up, I've always heard there's only two ways out of the game. You know, we all
hmm,
heard that shit, death or fucking jail. We
yeah,
all grew up hearing it, and I
yeah,
feel like no one ever really preached, and maybe because nobody was doing it, nobody really preached. You know what I mean? Going out on your own terms, man. You know what I'm saying? Getting your
yeah,
life back. You know what I'm saying? I was a front liner for the set for over 20 years, bro. Going on 25 years, bro.
yeah,
Front line, represented honorably, never turned down shit, never didn't ride, never told, went to the penitentiary for the hood, county jails, shootings. I did it all for the turf, bro. I got all damn near all my niggas tattooed all over my body. Like
yeah.
I I gave the hood everything, bro. And it's like ain't shit come with this shit. You know what I'm saying? At all. And not that I was expecting it, but I just feel like, damn, you give I think the greatest thing you could give a motherfucker, and I could be, this is my opinion, one of the greatest things you could do for somebody is either kill or die for their ass. That's like it doesn't get bigger than that. And when
Nah, that's facts.
I've done I've been in those positions, fuckers still will betray you. And it's like
Yeah,
I gotta give myself a shot now, bro. I got kids, I got a wife,
yeah.
and I've been so dedicated to that, man. It's time for me to do something different, bro. So that's today. Those memories stick with me near and dear. And
So, so not to cut you off, but so today, you know, where do you actually stand with being a gang member? Like, what is your relationship with the Bloods today?
right, I'm gonna always be the big phone dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how people are gonna always address me versus the new people I've met in my life. I don't support that gang banging shit no more, bro. I don't support that shit, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't no 3 4 year type of dude. Now I'm out put on for 25 years, my guy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So when you say where I stand with that, man, you know what I mean? I fuck with the homies I fuck with. And when I fuck with them, it's on
it,
my time. It's on my time. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? I ain't out in no after hours. I don't go to no fucking homie meetings and shit like that. Homies know
Okay.
those that still, you know what I mean? They can't call me with the fuckery. They can't
Yeah,
call me with that. I cut all that shit off, bro. You know what I mean? I live my life on my terms. But of course I'm not active in no shit like that. And that's not my space, bro. That's you know what I mean? My
yeah. Yeah, that's what that's what I was getting at because I'm like, I see everything you built, so I'm like, but I know
yeah,
some people, what I mean, some people still have relationships even when they in your lane, like doing what you're
plenty,
doing.
plenty of them, plenty of them.
Yeah,
I
so
will
that's
say
why I
this
asked you
though,
that question.
with those relationships though, like the key thing I try to I wanted to make clear was that this shit is on my terms though.
Yeah,
It's on my terms. You know what I'm saying? Like even with that relationship, homies can't call me talking about no damn guns. They know
yeah,
they can't do that with y'all.
they
You
can't.
can't call
Yeah,
me
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about who got put the fuck on and who you was shooting at last night. Click. We can't talk, my nigga. I listen, bro. I'm classified gang member, bro. I I'm on the wall. You know what I'm saying? I'm a classified high gang member, bro. I have
yeah,
no time for that shit. I don't want to be brought into whatever the fuck y'all are into out there. I don't know
yeah,
what you did last week. So you can't call me and talk about it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's on my terms. You know what I'm saying? You see how I'm living, and that's really the only way the relationship gonna be, bro. I have no problem cutting ties with anybody who don't respect that, homie,
Yeah, nah, that's facts. You got to stand on that. If you don't
for sure.
stand on nothing else, you got to stand on that. So like, okay, so I see you pretty much, you involved with your son in the whole football, rare breed.
For sure.
Yo, what that whole scenery like? You know what I'm saying? Because I see you. It's almost like you a coach, you a trainer. This is a whole different path for you. Like, what I mean, this is all new,
Right.
and you do have more than one kid, right? It's not just your son.
I have 4 girls and him.
Ooh, guess what, bro? Welcome to my world. I got the same thing you got. Four
Really?
girls and one boy. Yep.
That's hard.
And when I tell you,
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
embrace that shit. It's hard, but I embrace it. I love it because I already knew what it was coming with. But I'm gonna say this, I say this because we got the girls. It's the reason we got girls, bro. They gonna take care of us. They gonna be the ones to take care of us in the future. Know what I mean? That's why God put them there. So I know it looked like we did 4 in a row, but it's like it's a reason behind it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
That's hard.
what you have in your family and everything, like, what's your life like? You got the coaching going on. What else is you into? What's your goals?
Honestly, bro, that's really fully what I'm into, man. Just training my son. My daughters are into things as well.
Mm.
I don't put them. No, I put them up quite a little here and there, but my daughter's a little bit different. The way that
Okay.
I give the world access with them is a little bit different than with my son. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
What's their
But that's
ages?
my oldest is 18. My
Okay.
next one is 14.
Ooh, we close.
She's a freshman in high school. Tata is 12. About to be, is she just, no, 13. 13. Badger is 11. And then my youngest is 5.
Okay. Dag, I got two babies, but I got my oldest is 16, 13. What is it? Dag, three, uh, two, no, four. I'm sorry, four, two, and then I got my 19. But yeah, man, I already know it's having
That,
girls is different.
that's that's what the day to day is, man. Just dealing with them and just I'm just heavy into sports right now, man. My son is a pretty popular damn kid around this country, man. So he's a
Yeah.
handful dealing with him. He actually filming a movie right now. He was on set all day today. He filming a movie with Snoop, man.
Oh, that's dope.
Called, yeah, he's filming a film with him. And just keeping him active and shit, outside of sports. He's a track kid as well. So
Yeah,
he's a
that go
handful,
hand in
man.
hand.
He's a handful. But it's great though, man. I enjoy it. Just living like this. I enjoy it. I want to just double back on something. I wish more of those who come up through the ranks that has made it to somewhat of a decent living. I wish they would share that though more with those that's still stuck, bro. And I just remember back when I was, bro, those I couldn't even remember like remembering somebody who we knew was with the bullshit, who was reputable,
You can't
who
remember one person. Ain't that
and
crazy?
then not coming up, nah,
Yeah,
not
not coming
coming
up.
up,
Yeah, not coming up.
nah,
We can't remember
nah,
one.
bro. And then they might have did some time, but they got their shit together. I mean, homies still was, communicate with them, but they was living a different life. I just didn't know what the fuck that looked like. You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't tell you that either. I could never have told you that. We didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? That shit was definitely taken from us.
That's what I share with a lot of the homies, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I come home a lot. I go to New York. That's like my second home. Well, LA is my second home, but Harlem is like my second home. You know what I mean? I spend a lot of time out there, and so when I come home, I get the homies. I still got a lot of love for, and we get up. You know what I'm saying? That just be the energy I put on homies. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
put
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? When we talk, it be about those conversations and shit and progression and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that's my lane.
But that's one of the reasons, like, to be honest, I follow you, like, because I'm gonna be I don't like I really didn't want to do this shit to be talking about your past. Cause I mean I know you. I know about you. I did my research. I know what's going on. I'm more in tune with who you are today because I think that's way more important than your past. Even though your past turned you into who you are now, but I really wanted to do the interview with you because of who you are today.
Bro.
You know what I mean? I feel like it's just so much jewels that you could drop on people that's out here that's struggling, that been through half of the shit you've been through. I mean, you
Homie,
could
that's
really be helping other people.
I've done a lot of that, bro. I've I was the activism that I've done has not only just been in the States. I've traveled outside of this country doing a lot of work, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To Africa, to Sierra Leone. I lived in Belize for half a year. I was brought in by the Prime Minister, Wayne Barrow, that's Sean's father, to
Yeah.
help curb the gang violence there. I've been a frontliner for activism for many, many years, bro. And I'll be real with you though. uh, One of the biggest parts of what kind of pulled me back from that work was, for one, when I decided to kind of go full throttle and full time with my son when he was 6. So we're talking 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
because I realized, bro, I was spending more time on the road than I was at home. I was traveling a lot, bro. I mean, I'm in a different city, different state, twice a month, damn near. And
Yeah.
I found myself trying to, and I know today what it was versus back then. I was traveling so much, I was trying to overcompensate for a lot of the fuckery that the seeds that I've planted. You know, I got homies that's still in jail, and I'm a lot of them that are in jail that got life sentences, got a 30-year bid for missions I done sent them on, dog. It's
Yeah.
missions that I've been there with them on,
Yeah.
and they haven't been. They're not home yet. Or we had some that a couple homies just come home, a year or two ago. That done did 15 joints, and I felt like I put out so much, poison and just the mental and the shit I was into. And then eventually I was fortunate enough to survive that shit to now live a better life. And I don't know,
Yeah.
a part of me for many years just felt very guilty about that shit, dog. And that's really how I started going so hard with the activism and shit. And I just felt like I've always been a believer that, as much as you take is as much as you got to give back, if not more. I've always really believed that shit. And I hit the ground running with it. But
Yeah.
I realized, bro, I think I kind of got cold to it, man. I just felt like, man, the way this world is, bro, it don't matter how much you trying to do good out there, especially when you front
Mhm.
line for change.
Yeah.
You keep yourself in the fire. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, back to what I said when I did with the homies, man. I spread messages. I try my best to inspire. Not perfect, of course, we all know that, but like you said, if you know who the fuck I was and you know how I'm living now, trust me, you can see the shit is night and day. For those who
Yeah.
know, and and I
Yeah.
do that on my terms. I've written 3 books. I did a gang of short films. Whether if I'm just posting shit online, but I just try to leave something behind, bro. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
because you just never know who gonna catch that shit, dog. And to me, that shit soothes my motherfucking soul, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It makes me feel good to know when I get those messages from different people, homies and woo, telling me about this, that, and the third, man. I kind of just feel like, that's another check right there. I just feel like I'm giving back for all the shit that I done take from the neighborhood and from the community. And that helped me sleep at night, homie. Real shit.
Hey yo, hey, you know what? That's the first time I really heard that shit explained and broken down like that. That's the first time I've heard that.
It's a fact,
Um,
bro.
people, people got different ways, that they give back. Like
Right.
I had this one person tell me that about gangbanging. It was just like, I did so much shit out here. Like the way I give back is I just don't leave. You know what I mean? I stay here and I be positive now. Like, you know what I mean? That's just the only way. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, this is going to take the topic to another avenue, but that same quote that you just gave me, I fell out with one of my best homegirls in the world over that same shit you just said, bro.
Mm.
And this girl did time for me. She did like a dime. She knows the nickels they gave her, but she did like 5 years over some shit we did. We was fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And growing up, woo, woo, woo. But I remember she this is maybe about 5, 6 years ago. I remember she posted something and it was on a book and shit. And she's, you see how I'm living, so she's aware of that. And I remember she posted something and she was like, it said something to the effect of like, motherfucker, she was like, people, they leave the hood to go live in other places
Mm.
as like basically saying like that don't make you no better than nobody. Real motherfuckers stay in the hood and they, you know what I mean, they heal the hood from inside. That shit that you just said. And that
Yeah,
shit, it stung me a little bit because I don't think she was talking directly to me because I talk to her all the time, but
yeah.
she never told me those feelings. And it's like that's basically the life I'm living.
That you're
And
living.
you
Yeah,
feel this shit. And it's like
yeah,
it's for those that it's for. It ain't for
yeah.
everybody, man. Me staying that motherfucking hood, I'm not doing this interview now, or I'm doing it from a fucking phone call from the joint. I know my
Facts,
reality, bro. I know my
facts.
reality, homie. Everybody can't be no 20-year dope fiend, get clean, and come back and counsel in the fucking ghetto where they got hired. That ain't for everybody.
It ain't.
Some people can muster that shit. But when you know yourself, you man, you gotta move, bro. You gotta
Yeah,
move, bro. And it's like I felt like she ain't respected. So what I'm saying to you with that brother, that might have just been that might have been his calling. Maybe that's where he was supposed to be.
that's where he's supposed to be.
I knew it wasn't for me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how the story always go. And the crazy part is, I always find myself asking, a lot of, people who join gangs, just like, okay, so you didn't know this before you jumped in, like, because that's how they be acting. They be acting like, what I'm saying, they didn't know. So when certain shit be happening, they just be handling it not the way it's supposed to.
Right.
And I will say this in defense of myself, like, even though I say I never joined a gang before, but because of the type of person that I am today, if I would have joined the gang, I would have been a dangerous nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that anything I sign up for, no matter what, I'm sticking to that shit till it's all the way over. Because I'm just a man of my word. So that's why I know gangs wouldn't have been good for me at all.
I got a question for you,
Yeah,
and this is not a rebuttal. This is a question for you.
yeah,
You said you moved to Cali when you was 13.
yep,
So if things would have been different for you, so how I feel is that you're not a man at 13 at
yeah.
all. So say you did get involved, you get down or whatever. How could you hold yourself to something at 13 if the light got shined on you when you was 30, 28, whatever the case may be? Like, like, and I'm gonna make this point. I don't believe that it's like an oath. It's like taking an oath or some shit like that. Like when a kid, you do something as a kid, it's one thing if you're a grown ass man, but you a child and you get involved in some shit. You know what I'm saying? And then life happens and the ups, downs, whatever the case may be, and you get to a certain age to not grow from that because of a word or oath per se.
Yeah.
I question that. So I guess the question I'm asking you is that had you got involved, you said you'd have been dangerous, cool. But how do you know? How do you know what the hell you'd have done?
Well, I'm saying I say that based on I know I'm a man of my word. So because I'm big on that, and even being 13, right? One thing about me I always was raised on was be who you are.
Right.
Be true to yourself. That always was instilled in me coming up. So when I saw it, I could never be influenced because I know who I am. Like, I'm not afraid to say
At
I'm not
13?
about that.
At
Yeah,
13?
nigga, look, hey,
No,
I
that's
knew
real
that
shit.
I would.
I didn't know who the fuck I was at 13.
Yeah, see, no, no,
Hell
I'm
no,
not saying I
nigga.
knew who
You
I
want you
was.
want me to help you shoot that motherfucker? I got him. Yeah, I'm
Not,
rolling, nigga. I'm rolling.
but
Right.
I'm more so saying at the age of 13, I wasn't afraid to say that is not for me. Like my mom has always taught me, like, yo, be yourself, be who you are. So I wouldn't lie to you. I never been that type of person to be like, yo, let's do this, and I'm not with it. If I stamp it, I'm with it. I mean, all the way from 13 all the way up, if I stamp it. But I know things that I could do and I know things I can't do. I always been the type of kid to analyze something like before I get into it. Like I could be like, hey, look, okay, gang banging, okay, red, blue, dying, I'm good. Like it just was simple like that as a kid. You know what I mean? As a grown man, of course, I really, really know. But as a kid, I just saw the small things like red, blue, people die, you got to fight all the time. That's how I viewed gang banging at that age. And I knew I didn't want to do that. So because I knew that, I was like, I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to go that route. So I mean, not to say that I knew exactly who I was, but I just understood that I wasn't afraid to be me at the age of 13, which led me to not being in a gang. If that makes sense, like.
No, I get your point of view. I really was just trying to wrap my head around it because
Uh,
when you said it, you made me think back
being
to
13,
my
11.
age. Like I was not naturally, I was not no like violent motherfucker kid until I moved out there. You know, I do a couple squabbles up
Yeah,
here and you know what I mean, just as a kid, but out there, like it changed things. And now I came
yeah,
back, I was proactively violent. And it's like,
yeah,
was that me? Was that me the whole time? Like, or
yeah,
was it not me? Like, I don't know. I just know, you know, what my circumstances was, and I don't know. For me, it was bigger. I'll be honest with you, homie. It was bigger than like me saying, "Is it for me?" I felt that. Look, I did. I felt that shit amongst the motherfuckers, dog. Like,
yeah,
I felt like, you know, especially my home life, my family. The shit wasn't, you know, not to get too much at all with my you know, my family, but you know, it was a lot of drug abuse, a lot of shit in my family, and it's like I could say I felt like more embraced with them niggas, man. Even through
yeah.
all the bullshit, dog. Even through the bullshit, just do.
So,
I was down for that shit.
well, you know what? I just thought about like the reason why, I viewed it like you probably differently from you is because like my parents, I had my mother and my father, so they was keeping me out of shit. I wasn't able to hang with niggas like you.
So,
Like, look, if I would have went to school and saw half of the shit I saw, I had two people that was willing to be like, nah, we moving.
right.
So that's
That's what.
another that also helped. You know what I'm saying? Like your situation probably was different. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if how was your parents? You had your parents in your life?
Yeah, mom's was there. Mother was there, but you know, my mother, she was an addict growing up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So everybody's different, man. I just,
Yeah,
you know,
everybody's just different. I think that's what it
everybody's
is.
different, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's different. And I
that's
respect it. You know what I'm saying? I respect. I just, like you said, I'm not ashamed to speak my motherfucking reality. Like,
and you shouldn't
you
be,
know what
bro.
I'm saying? Like,
You shouldn't
I
be.
remember. You know what I'm saying? I remember well. You know what I'm saying? And you know what they say? Everybody's path is different. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Everybody's
Everybody
path
just
is
get
different.
dealt different. Look, let me put it like this. I may not
Right.
have gotten that part of your lifestyle, but I got some parts that was fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I got shit that happened that was fucked up. It may not have been the same as yours, but yeah, I got fucked up out here too. I mean,
Well,
so it's just really like, everybody lived different lifestyles. Everybody got different paths. A lot of things come into play when you look at two different kids and be like from two different paths and why you didn't do this? It's two different upcomings, like, you know what I mean? And that just is what it is. Like, if the good thing would have been you knew how to survive in Cali. I didn't. At 13, like, I'm lost. I'm like, I would have rather had that mindset to know what I'm about to walk into. Like, you know what I'm saying?
right.
That shit scared the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, I ain't never been around this. And when I got back home to Jersey, just to realize that niggas is doing it here, I'm like, now when I came back, I was about 16. So I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, and it would. I already knew they was doing that before I left, but not gang banging. It was niggas was getting killed regularly. Like, now they just gave niggas a reason. Like, hey, yo, look, red and blue. That's what it is now. So I feel like in the beginning of gang banging, from when I viewed it, I feel like a lot of people lost their life over careless stuff. It wasn't even well thought out or nothing. This shit was just, and niggas ain't even here no more based off of misguidance. You know what I mean? So like the gang world is just one of them worlds where I understand it, and I always like to have conversations with people who was affiliated with gangs because I want to understand where y'all came from. I want to understand what y'all been through. So that's why I say when I'm listening to you talk, I'm putting myself in your shoes, and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have did it no other way. You know what I'm saying? Because all the odds was really stacked against you.
Right.
I mean, it really you ain't really have no way to reach out. Everything was stacked against you. So
You want to know one of the biggest things you said that I know based off what you said was different where you
yeah,
moved to and where I moved to. You said that if you know you said you that wasn't for you, but you said if you said you wasn't banging, woo woo, niggas ain't they ain't fuck with you. That shit wasn't like that where I was at, bro. You knew you was an outcast.
So,
I mean, I remember I got into a motherfucking. I talked about this in my book, my first book. I told this story in there. I remember I got jumped. I'm on it. I'm living on this block. I see these kids out here every day, bro. Like every day. And I
yeah,
remember after school, this Mexicans, they jumped me. They jumped me again. They got me again. And this is in the beginning of the
yeah,
like me being there. And I remember, I can't remember how many, it's so long ago, but I just knew I remember faces there from my block. And them motherfuckers ain't do shit. They ain't help. They ain't do a motherfucker. That shit.
yeah,
I remember those feelings of being angry, and no one had to explain it to me. I knew why they didn't do it because I just remember like there's always little comments being made. You ain't from the hood. Ooh, ooh, you ain't from the turf. They weren't saying hood like that. They were saying you weren't from the turf. You ain't from
sure,
the set. Woo, woo. And I just remember when I really got on with like all that shit changed. You know what I'm saying? And I just so that right there, that type of pressure and that
yeah,
much of wanting to be accepted, it played a big part in why I submitted to that shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It played a big part, and it's like so. That, I think that's what when I even asked the question of 13, why ask us is like, damn, bro, that's a lot to ask for a fucking kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about me, 9, 10, 11, to to
yeah.
to know yourself enough to it was none of that. It was pressure.
It was pressure your whole life, nigga. You from the beginning, nigga. You
It's
ain't
like
never had time. You ain't never have a time or opportunity to even think anything else. Like,
I wasn't one of them ones that got put on 18 and shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, nigga, this shit happened from the day you was born, pretty much. Like, you was just going towards that route. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely understand that. All right, but yo, I ain't gonna hold you too long, man. Like, I gotta ask you these fun questions though. That these just regular questions, just
For
to
sure.
like, for people to get your personality. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
So look, first question is Biggie or Pop?
Pop all day. I'm a Jersey outlaw, man. You see that shit, man? I'm one of
Hey,
Pop homeboys, man.
yo, I'm down
Yeah,
with that. I'm Pac all day. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against Biggie, but Pac.
for sure.
All right, Martin Luther King or Malcolm X?
Malcolm X all day, man. I ain't with that
Damn,
piece.
man.
Malcolm
I
X,
gotta
man.
rock with Dr. King with that one, man. Dr. King had the dream, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
All
man,
right.
that's another conversation we're gonna have one day, man.
Oh,
About
oh, listen, look, hey, bro, listen. I'm always open, bro. We can always, you know what I mean, come here and do this whenever, like, you know what I mean. This is what I do, bro, for a living. Like Kobe Bryant or LeBron James.
Kobe all day, man. All day.
Kobe, all right, look, we good in that one. Kobe, my nigga. I mean, yo, but
All day,
just to
man.
touch on this, real before I even go to the next one, though, I look at it like this, right? So we got Jordan was the greatest, and then we got Kobe next. But people discredit him because they say, like, yo, I'm discrediting him because he copied somebody's style. I'm like,
That's
yo,
bullshit, bro.
that's
That's
bullshit. But you got to think about it like this: how easy is it to copy the greatest of all times, like a duplicate? That's hard as fuck, my nigga. So just thinking about it from that point of view, it's like, yo, how can he not be second? How do we have LeBron after Jordan and fucking Kobe is the image? Yo, look, that's like having
you gonna copy
God.
somebody, man.
That's like
You gonna
having God, Moses, then Jesus. How you gonna put Moses before Jesus? Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit don't make sense, my nigga. Like,
That's some
so
hating ass shit to say how he copying it. Listen, if you going listen, as kids, we all grow up with people that we admire and shit like that. We all grow up wanting to
yeah, most
be like
definitely.
this person. And so now when someone did it with the greatest player ever, that's a negative now.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
You
you know what?
sound
I'm more mad at the niggas that's close to our age that think this shit. I'll be like,
right,
yo,
right.
y'all
Yeah,
niggas is fired, man, for real.
facts.
All right, let me get you the next one. Oh, this is a good one. The Last Dragon or Into the Dragon?
Last Dragon.
Last
Last
Dragon.
Dragon. Yeah, that's my show right
Damn,
there.
bro, that's tough. I'm rocking with you though. I'm rocking with you
That's my
because
show right
I
there. I,
seen
I,
that
mean, I,
shit
don't,
a
I think
hundred
that's one of
times.
the
Like,
ones you can't go wrong with either one. It's just preference. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, it could
Last
be
Dragon.
preference.
Yeah, that's the
Last
glow right
Dragon
there,
is
man.
classic. That's classic.
Yeah.
That's definitely classic. Um, you got Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune?
Wheel of Fortune. I hated Jeopardy because I could never answer the
You could
fucking
never.
question. Yo, I could
Nah,
never
Jeopardy.
get them shits, bro. Well,
Jeopardy
of
had the
course it was
hardest
my work.
questions.
I know,
Jeopardy
right?
had the Jeopardy's so crazy. You know, niggas had to study to go on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how you know that shit crazy. You gotta study to go, and you don't even know what the fuck they about to ask you. You got a whole book you gotta read off Jeopardy. Now we definitely rock with Wheel of Fortune, man. You got apple pie, you got sweet potato pie.
Sweet potato.
It's close. If it's patty sweet potato, then I'll fuck with it. But I'm an apple pie type nigga, know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
All right, last but not least, man. This is probably the one that everybody's gonna pay attention to. Apple or Android? Who that you got? Apple? Hey yo, but you know what? Yo, go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit, man. For all the Androids out there, man. Go ahead and
Hey,
elaborate on that a
listen,
little bit.
I was an Android dude. I had the notes from the first one all the way up to the note fucking what that last one I had. Like I just got an iPhone last year.
Okay. So you just signed up. You was an Android nigga.
For 10 years.
Hey yo, bro, I started the same way. But guess what? I'm glad I was an Android nigga. Cause then I turned to Apple and I was able to decide which one was better. That Droid shit is not it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know what I will say on the note of that? People, and look, this is gonna reference to both of us. People with droids got the same personality. People with Apple got the same personality. Now, when you had Droid for years and then with the Apple, that's when you fire. We fired. Okay. Hey yo, that's why we got the best of both worlds mentally. You know what I mean? Because we understand the difference and we was one for a long time, so we already know what they working with. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas just be coming out with Apple and just be like, yo, Apple is better. Nah, we had the best of both worlds. We gonna tell you the truth about this shit. Like,
nah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Fact. But yo, man, I appreciate you tapping in with me, man. Like for real,
Man.
Know what I mean? Please, man, feel free to come back, man. Hit me, let me know when you're ready to get something out. We can talk, we can get it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
we'll do that. We locked in now, man. So I'll definitely be tapping in with you.
All right, that's the bet, man. I'm gonna holler at you.
All right, salute, man. Peace.
GGDB sneakers that design away. I like all my women